And we should be.
Oh, I am
live
on
my
your channel.
now. All right, I was wondering why there wasn't a lot of people here.
As in zero?
No.
It won't even let me log in. I try to log in, and it takes me out of the chat, out of the stream.
Yeah, I think we should be live on my channel now.
I hate it when that happens.
No, it's because Richard's like, man, I'm just gonna send everyone over to my channel.
Yeah.
But we are live now, so it's all good. It's all good. We were live on Facebook and Twitch and a bunch of other places.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for everything. It was great.
Okay, I have so many questions for you. First, how did you get into YouTube?
Me?
Yes.
Just like everybody else, just screwing around. We used to do, I've been doing this 13 years. So 13 years ago, you'd hang out on the discussion forums, and when everybody got a new gun, they would post a little write-up about their new gun. And then there was this new thing called YouTube, and I shot a couple little videos about the gun and posted a link to that instead of doing a, typed out review, or if you could call it a review. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And being obsessive compulsive, it just became, when I saw it start to grow, then I started to do more and more videos, and then it got completely out of hand.
Oh, wow. And now you're a YouTuber for a living. That's awesome.
That is, yeah. Yep. It's
so
interesting.
Is the revenue like YouTube, or is it more sponsorship?
It used to be YouTube. YouTube used to do really, really good for us until they demonetized about, it's been 3 or 4 years ago now, whenever I went to Patreon. So Patreon's my primary source of income now. Oh, wow. So before that, when I had a third of the followers, I made more on YouTube than I make on Patreon now. And then YouTube it used to be this big deal if you got accepted into the partnership program, right? You had to apply for it or be invited to it. They would review your content, make sure it was professional and all this other stuff. And then, it's like this big hooray, you got in and you got ads. And then they opened the floodgates to everybody with a silly cat video. And they started running Chevy commercials on beheading videos and things like that. And it just went to trash really fast. And then they clamped down on gun content. So we became the unwanted stepchild, and it just happened again, just in the last day or two. I know Brandon Herrera put out a video about it. I posted on Instagram about it. I'm going to look it up here real quick, but YouTube just came out with some new arbitrary rules. I was fighting with them over monetization not 2 days ago, and I said, "Look, I'm meeting your guidelines. Why are you not monetizing me?" And they just released new updates. So. I'm going to read this verbatim. This is like pigeon English. This is coming from YouTube, right? So if you fall into this category, you can monetize non- and semi-automatic and unmodified guns shown in a safe environment like shooting range or a clear open area, not to endanger bystanders or property owned by others, firearm and paintball gun assembly, disassembly for repair and maintenance. Okay, so I think what they're trying to say is no semi-automatics, okay? And then if you go down, if your content meets this, content shows gun creation or modification, including assembly and disassembly in the content, promotes gun makers or sellers. So if you say, I got this gun from Ruger, I bought this from Atlantic Firearms, you're promoting a gun retailer, so you can't do that. Or if you shoot a firearm that has a 30-round magazine in it. So if you have a semi-automatic, you can't monetize. If you have a bolt action with a 30-round magazine, you can't monetize. It's silly. So yeah, no, if you want to, and it's not just GunTube. YouTube is just destroying its creators all across the spectrum. Gaming channels deal with it. Knife channels, anything that's controversial to them in the slightest that they might get flack from their advertisers for, they just basically kick us to the curb. So
yeah, I'm working on an upgrade for the Ruger P50.
That looks interesting.
P200.
Yeah, I think they are going more towards like the NBCs and the CBSs and the
well, think about it. They literally do billions of streams, and that isn't cheap, right? Yeah. So they need those advertisers. No. And where they really dropped the ball was making the partnership program go away and just opening up every single video, no matter how short or how silly or how unprofessional, and putting monetization to that, because that took money away from the creators that were doing it for a living, that had been doing it for years, that built that platform and got them their audience. So that was the first mistake they made, and that would be the end of monetization on YouTube. But I think the direction they're going is more like Netflix. You'll notice they have YouTube TV. You can rent movies on YouTube now. They're picking creators that they like, that produce content they find to be politically acceptable, and then YouTube is funding them, paying them, sponsoring them, propping them up, and then the rest of us eventually. We're dead weight when they can't run ads against our videos, and we're doing billions of streams. They're just going to kick us out, and that's in the terms of service now. Yep. If they don't feel they can monetize you effectively, they'll yank your plug.
Dang, I needed that $60 a month.
Yeah,
60. I don't get anything from them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's even worse. They'll run. You can turn off monetization completely on your channel. Carl did this over at InRange TV, and they still run ads on his videos. They just don't pay him. They run ads on our content. They just don't pay us. So we're monetizable. They just don't want to give us our cut. I mean, it's a huge class action lawsuit, but they have a building full of attorneys out there that would just smack anybody down. You're going up against Goliath.
Yeah. I know Colin Kaepernick is going to be doing a video about us being slaves.
I saw that ad. That was painful to watch.
Can I apply? I know I'm too old and too unskilled, but I'll take that deal.
I think I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to become an illegal alien and come back across the border and get my $500,000.
I'll be your kid.
I saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, in IG, I don't know if Johnny V posted this in IG, but it was like illegal alien couple shopping for a home, $450,000 budget.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, our president did say that it was garbage, but then again, he doesn't know where he's at, and so we'll see.
Just be like 280 to you and call him the former vice president.
I love that. Yeah.
You won't call him President Biden. Did you see where he fell asleep?
Oh yes. Well, this is totally inappropriate. I get this, and I try to keep things clean. I'm not going to cuss. But the story about him messing his pants before meeting the Pope, the memes have been absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, you could just say sharding.
Yeah, well, I think it's a little bit more than that. It was, I think, yeah. But anyway, so, wow. I feel sorry for him. At this point, it's senior abuse. They're just propping him up.
I said that yesterday. I said Jill Biden wanted to be president and first lady, and this is elder abuse, what she's doing.
Oh, by the way, I got Hunter Biden's 4473. I forgot to tell you that, Rich.
Did you really? That's epic.
Here's Hunter Biden's laptop drive.
No, that was one on there. I got it from somewhere else, but I'm trying to tie everything together around the store, and I needed the 4473, so I got it.
So the question is then, if you have the 4473, what did he check for his drug use?
He checked he was not under he wasn't an unlawful user of drugs.
So all those pictures of him with crack and hookers that are on his laptop that are now out there, isn't that illegal?
Well, that's
I mean, for the plebes. I mean, not for presidents and their sons. But for people like us.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to tie in one of those pictures by looking at metadata to within 1 year of the 4473, and then I can prove that he committed a felony.
Nothing will happen. They'll hold a congressional hearing, which means nothing, and then it'll just all blow over. They get away with anything. Views, though. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. I mean, I would do it. I think it's hysterical, man. I'm glad you got that 4473, and because geez. Yeah, what a mess.
So, yeah, I mean, it really is. The whole entire damn thing is a mess.
So, they dragged Donald Trump Jr. through the mud because he had a meeting that was set up by the Clinton organization with some Russians, and he thought it was about adoption. But they made it into this whole scam, and he's going to go to jail forever, and I'm sure that cost him money with lawyers. Meanwhile, Hunter just gets off scot-free. This is just crazy.
Well, he was meeting with the Chinese.
But that's the ruling class, man. The rules only apply to us. You know?
I mean,
if we lie on the 4473 form, we go to prison. If you're the son of the president, you sit on the board of some Chinese company and get paid $1 billion a year.
And talk about how you're not going to pay taxes on it. Like, was it Burisma? John was saying there's communications between him and the other officers at Burisma saying you need to pay taxes on this.
Yeah, I got that. They were telling him, hey, you didn't. It was an accountant from there saying, hey, you didn't pay taxes on a $400,000 bonus. You need to do that. This is it was like from a couple of years ago.
You guys just don't understand. When you sit around and do drugs with the future president of the United States, it's okay. He smokes crack, and old Pop, Pop's doing his Alzheimer's medicine.
So a comment from Bill says, I thought crack died in the 90s. You're telling me people still smoke crack? Well, did you see the comments that were in some of the emails from his laptop about him hanging out with low quality hookers and doing drugs? I thought that was epic. So, I mean, it only stands to reason that he had used crack from the 90s. I mean, he's kind of an 80s child, I guess. And, he does what's comfortable.
He's probably got a Mac. Was the 4473 for a Mac 10?
Tech 9.
Tech 9?
Tech 9, yeah.
Well, he has money, so it was a KG9.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really ridiculous that he gets away with all this stuff, though.
These politicians get away with it on both sides of the aisle. I wish I could say it were just the Democrats, but they all do it. They can, it's just it's a whole mess.
Well, unless you're Trump. So
Cheryl Atkins wrote a good book about politicians getting away, and she went after everyone on the Democrat side, and plus like Mitch McConnell and stuff like that. It was a really good book.
A funny nickname for him I heard. I was on a discussion forum, and they kept referring to the cocaine turtle, and I didn't know who they were talking about. and then somebody tied it to McConnell, and I couldn't stop laughing. They call him the cocaine turtle.
Dude, he definitely does look like a turtle. I've never noticed that.
Yeah. We either say turtle or Cabbage Patch Doll.
You know what he reminds me of? Remember in Saturday Night Live, Dana Carvey used to do the turtle character?
I vaguely. I quit watching Saturday Night Live when the original crew kind of started dropping off.
It was like Belushi and
Belushi, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd. Those guys were epic. Watching those old reruns, but I guess I stayed. I stuck around. Eddie Murphy was on, and you know what? I actually used to watch it when Dana Carvey and gosh, why can't I think of his name? Chris Farley. That was kind of the end of it for me.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the 90s.
Chris Farley was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that dude could just make you laugh standing there.
Yeah, he definitely could, man. He was hilarious. I just wish he didn't die.
Yeah. Well, there we go with I think that was a cocaine thing again.
Yeah, he was really big on drugs, into drugs.
Yeah, I think it seems like people that are funny have some hurt in them that needs fixing, and that's their way of coping with it, and that's why they're excessively funny, and we all find them amusing. But I don't want to go too dark. Tim, I got a question about the SIG P365.
Okay.
Do you still carry one?
I'd show you, but YouTube would stop the stream. So, yes, I have one on me right now.
I know what he's going to say. I always tease Rich. I always tell him it's a woman's gun.
Well, that was one thing.
But mine has an aluminum lower. I have an Icarus.
Oh, cool.
Aluminum lower on mine. It looks pretty sharp. I can't throw up a picture here. You know what? Maybe I can find a picture on my phone because I can't show you one in my actual hand, but I can show you a picture.
Do you got it on your Instagram?
If you're holding the phone and you show a picture on the phone, isn't that the same thing as?
Well, we're about to find out.
It's holding by proxy.
Don't hold the phone like this.
Yeah, I won't hold it like this, right? Yeah. So this is the Icarus. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, I can see it. That's a nice frame.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of weight. I told I told the guys that, I imagine this year in 2022, SIG will do an aluminum frame version of that like they did the P320, because I love the AXGs. That really changed the dynamic of that handgun.
So, Tim, when you're doing all these reviews with the 320, and I laud you for, I guess maybe like you said, you're a little obsessive about it, and you did a great job with that. Did anybody ever contact you from SIG and say, hey, anybody ever?
I've only had a handful of conversations with SIG, and none of them were pleasant. They every time I show, because look, the P365 was actually very forward thinking, and that's one thing that SIG does an amazing job of. And people kept saying, "You're an idiot. Why do you keep buying these guns?" I said, because SIG doesn't. They can continuously do rolling changes, which isn't uncommon in the industry, but they'll make significant changes and yet not increment the nomenclature of the firearm. So if you take a look at an early MCX compared to a modern day Virtus, they're two different guns. The parts aren't even interchangeable. The barrels and gas systems are different. And so, but they don't call it an A1, A2 or anything like that. Well,
gotcha.
I kept buying the P365s because the early ones had horrible problems with springs breaking, striker tips breaking off, all that stuff. And they kept downplaying it, like, oh, we've only had 10 guns come back. I laughed one time. Century Arms told me we've only had like 10 AKs come back with problems. It's just way overblown. But anyway, so it's like, oh, we've just had these two come back. There's nothing to see here. But I can show you at least 5 different striker designs in the course of a 2-year span. And now if you pick up a P365 today, it's going to be reliable. You're going to have 0 striker drag, and the guns aren't going to break. But it took honest people holding their feet to the fire that had something of an audience to cast light on all those problems, because the gun magazines, they'll take the $30,000 for their full page color ad and say, this thing's the best thing since sliced bread. NRA magazine said, this is the gun of the year. And it was a piece of junk, but it had so much potential. And thanks to those rolling changes, it's now a great gun.
Oh yeah. I'm a big fan. I think it's great. My wife, as much of a workout fanatic she is, she just doesn't have the grip strength to rack most slides, and she can on the 365. So good gun for her. Yeah,
well, I think they're great guns for everything. I think I did a whole video, is the Glock 19 obsolete, and talking about guns like the P365 XL and now the Shield Plus and the Max 9 from Ruger. We have this, and the Deltas. The Arex Deltas. We have this whole new generation of guns that's smaller than the Glock 19, holds the same number of rounds, and so it's smaller, thinner, lighter, but has the same capacity. You can put red dots on them. And I do think that guns like the P365 and the XL are the future, because there's no reason to carry around a big 2x4 in your pants when you can get smaller and lighter and make it easier to hide. Excuse me. So, of course, I caught a lot of flack, and people were talking about split times and things like that. That's awesome. Split times are great when you're in a competition, but in a gunfight, I don't think you're going to be sitting there going, pop, 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 pop. Yep, my split time sucked on that one. For me, it's the chances of me actually having to use my defensive arm in self-defense in the course of my life is like 0.0001%. So while I'm carrying it, I want it to be small, lightweight, unobtrusive. I have the gun on until you guys brought it up. I forgot it was even there. It's being carried appendix right now. So, when I used to carry full-size handguns, I always knew they were there because they're either tugging at my belt or poking me in the nether regions because of the appendix carry. The new, smaller handguns just don't. They're amazingly comfortable and easy to carry.
Oh, I meant to open up a picture of a 365, and I accidentally opened up Hunter Biden's hard drive.
That could be a problem.
That's awesome. You have that for a reason. Look at that.
Yeah, I just want to throw it out there in case something happens or something. Yeah, disappear. Get black bagged one night.
Oh man.
Well, all they have to do is come down the street.
Yeah, I live close enough.
Take you to the CIA house.
Yeah, the safe house around the corner from you.
I do. I don't know if it's CIA safe house, but I'm pretty sure it's some type of safe house. I took Rich to the house around the street from me where they built a secondary road out.
Do you know how to tell when there's a CIA safe house in your neighborhood? When there's no mailbox, nobody goes in or out the gate, and about every 6 feet it says no trespassing, video surveillance, no trespassing, video. It's very incognito.
The camera's up in the trees.
And everybody goes in, wears, nice suits and sunglasses.
No one goes in. No one comes out.
Not that road. No.
Oh,
they built a private road going out to one of the other roads.
What you got to worry about is if you see people going in, but nobody coming out.
yeah.
I told Rich about it. Rich was like, "Oh, it can't be that obvious." So I took him around there, and he's like, "Oh yeah."
I'll come up. We'll find out. I'll jump the fence and just start going like this. Waving my STG around.
Okay, that's probably not a good idea. Hey, funny thing. I was in Vegas about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, I guess. And I was sitting around with Jeremy Dedman, who owns X-Tech, with the X-Tech guys. And one of the guys was scrolling through videos on his phone. He's like, "Oh my God, you got to see this." And he threw it up on the TV. And because we were on this like Airbnb. And it was you trying to break an X-Tech mag. And Jeremy Dedman was like, "I owe Tim a rock."
I remember beating on those magazines, and finally, I think I had to break one. I had to smash it like with bricks and huge stumps. Couldn't get the thing to break. The Creation magazines split right away. All I had to do was drop them loaded, and they split.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I like X-Tech mags. He's a friend of mine, but they're expensive, but they're
indestructible. Yeah, for a polymer magazine, you're not going to break them. I wanted to do that test because the Creation mags were being pushed really hard, and I remember reading either an online article or in-print article on recoil, and Ian had gone over to the factory, and they were talking about all the high-quality polymers and all the stuff that goes into the making of the magazine. I'm like, these things sound amazing. So I loaded one up with full 30 and just dropped it on a steel plate from chest height and just broke. I'm like, okay, so this is garbage. And so I made the whole video.
Sub-zero temperatures, or what are we talking here?
No, I mean an average Indiana day, probably anywhere between 60 to 75 degrees.
Wow.
Nope. So yeah, I was not impressed with them, to say the least.
How do you come up with your ideas for your videos?
Just whatever hits us for that day. We have a whole bunch of different guns we're always shooting and stuff. Like, it's time we make a video about this one. But yeah, I mean, literally people think that you storyboard stuff or read from scripts. It's all off the top of the head. I've started using a little bit of a whiteboard when we're talking about ballistics and things where it's easy to get numbers, confused. I'm dyslexic, and I'm not just saying that. I truly am. I will invert numbers. So, yeah, that's everything we do is just kind of like, okay, this week, let's grab this, and this. We should be doing videos on those. We've shot them enough or whatever. But yeah, and then we just go out and start filming. People think it takes like 15 minutes to make a video when we're out there for 5 hours just to get a 15, 20-minute video. So yeah, a lot of bloopers.
Yeah, but
Tim and Hunter sitting around smoking crack, what should we do, dude?
Yeah, with our low quality hookers. Yeah. The life of a YouTuber.
Yeah. Well, you're not only a YouTuber, you own Copper Customs, of course, but you also are a federal plaintiff.
Yeah. Well, so I'm a partner in Copper. I'm a minority partner. So I don't work there, draw a paycheck from it or anything. I just go up there, I do transfers through it. It's just handy for me to be a responsible party on an FFL when I deal with so many different firearms. I don't want to get pinched for dealing without a license. But yeah, so then the lawsuit is obviously the bump stock lawsuit. Oral arguments were just heard, a little over a week ago. I know, John, you keep up on this stuff.
Yeah, and, I talked to the lawyer. What I call him?
Rob Olson?
Rob. No, I talk to Rob like every day. I call him the chicken farmer.
Yeah, Rob's a great dude.
Yeah.
He's a great lawyer, and he's so hard on himself. And I'm like, dude, you do amazing. And if you think about how far the GOA has taken that lawsuit, given how many other organizations have tried and failed, the fact that they were very, very selective, and they chose the Sixth Circuit for a reason. That's because of the number of Bush and Trump appointees on that particular court. And so I happened to fall within that jurisdiction. So I was more than eager to be on that lawsuit. But then again, I'm sure everybody in the ATF knows who I am, and I know people in the Bloomberg organization know who I am. I won't go into all that, but anyway, so they did a really good job picking the jurisdiction. We heard the original hearing. Obviously, they decided in our favor. They decided that bump stocks were not machine guns. They didn't meet the statutory definition. Government, of course, filed for an en banc review, which means the entire court hears it. That's just what we went through, and it doesn't matter if we win or lose. If we win, the government's going to take it to the SCOTUS. If we lose, we're taking it to the SCOTUS. And it's going to be interesting to see what they decide on the court case that's before them now with regards to New York's may issue versus shall issue. It's going to give us a pretty good indication where our case will fall.
Yeah, that will give us a good indication. But I mean, I don't know if they will take it to the Supreme Court if they lose. I think they might pull a Wren versus DC, where they're like, we don't want to take it there because we might lose.
Right. Well, I mean, in that case, if that happens, then it's a win for us. And I think people are slowly starting to come around to the realization that this has never been about the bump stock.
No.
In my opinion, the bump stock shouldn't exist because the NFA is criminal and is wildly against the Second Amendment. What it's about is the ATF deciding arbitrarily one day just to completely redefine something and literally make a law out of whole cloth. It's not their job. They did a complete end run around Congress. And that is our argument. And it gets down to the very essence of Chevron deference. And I don't want to get into that legalese because that's a completely legal discussion. John, I know you're well versed in that. But really, this could be the case. Everybody's so scared. What's that?
They got plenty of videos on Chevron deference.
Yeah.
And other videos and articles. If you go to John Crump News, there's plenty of videos on it.
It's interesting to read about because, I mean, basically, in a nutshell, what it means is the government's given these agencies, ATF, FBI, EPA, FAA, all these organizations, wide breadth to just basically make up and read a law and interpret it however they want, even when that interpretation is in clear violation of the law. There's nothing to hold them accountable except lawsuits. And so this whole issue of Chevron deference, if the Supreme Court or Circuit Court ruling stands that says Chevron deference is no longer accepted, or they're going to put some sort of constraints on it, that could unravel so many things. It would cause the government a big problem. Because go ahead.
One of the things that I don't like about Chevron deference, and one of the key arguments that Rob has is that Chevron deference has never ever been applied to a criminal statute.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's where the ATF went way off the edge, and that's what our case is predicated on. It's never been about bump stocks. It's about what the ATF is doing and abusing power.
And if GOA wins this case, that throws a huge monkey wrench into the proposed regulations.
Yep. Well, but see, keep it in mind. So let's say that we win and ATF gets put back in its box in theory. They can still go ahead and redefine what a firearm is and make an AR-15, 14 different parts in an AR-15 be a firearm. They can still go ahead and say, well, we decided now after 4 rulings that braces weren't stocks. Now we're going to say they are stocks. They can still go ahead and do that. And we're still going to have to fight them in court. Because even though that we're fighting them on one front and we win and they're told they can't do that anymore, they've already demonstrated they're just going to go ahead and break the law anyway. And then we're going to have to sue them again. Yeah. So it's just this, at some point there has to be some sort of accountability and some organization that stops these agencies from continuing to violate the law. But,
yeah,
I don't know.
We definitely will. Armament and Axis says, hello there, John Crump Alive, Rich the Hoff, and Tim, aka Mac.
I know Armament and Axis.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, he's a good guy. I think he's been on my show like once, and he keeps on saying he's coming on, but then he just like blows me off. Also, the Arms Man says Mac is the only channel that he watches because you break stuff, which is true.
Thank you.
One thing that I want to ask you: your name is Tim, but everyone calls you Mac.
Yeah, it started off Military Arms Channel. That's a mouthful, and I started putting Mac on all my little icons for all the videos, and then people just started calling me Mac. I've walked off an airplane and just hear somebody yell Mac because Tim or whatever doesn't register, and it's funny. So when people come into the shop when I'm there, it's Mac, and I to me it's just like a nickname now. So I just kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
I can't complain because I think Mac's cooler than Tim.
Aegis Gun Care says, great show, gent. Thank you, Aegis. Cool. Yeah, Mac Tim. It's a Mac Tim. Hoffman, you got to get on work on that gun.
Okay. That deserves a patch. Mac Tim.
Is Toxic Patchco out there? I handle all these guys with all the patches and stuff. So all the patches come through Toxic Patchco and cuts me a great deal. Cool. Yeah. So I was always wondering that because I hear so many people call you Mac, and I'm like, and honestly, the first time I saw you, I thought your name was Mac.
That's okay. Because I respond to it. Everybody for a long time, nicknames were cool, and still to this day, like culturally, there's nicknames that are used throughout Hollywood and in the rap culture and stuff like that. And I think it's just kind of normal. It doesn't seem weird to me anymore because so many people just have assumed names. And honestly, I wish I just would have went by Mac beforehand instead of using my real name because it's just nutty when people have your full name. And that all fell apart when I got asked to write for Guns and Ammo. I wrote a couple articles, and that's how the name got out there. They wouldn't let me sign it with a pen name, so I said, "Oh, okay, that's fine. Nobody will read it." Wrong.
Surprise.
Yeah. I come from the writing world, so I was using my real name before I did this YouTube thing. But I was talking to someone, and they were like, "Did you see that video that Mac from Military Arms Channel did?"
So I can double down. Yeah.
Like what?
I tried to submit an article once, and they told me they don't accept articles in crayon.
Yeah. I guess they're doing surprisingly well. I still have a lot of friends in that realm, and print magazines are holding up surprisingly against websites and videos and stuff like that. Their sales are holding true, so it's pretty interesting.
That's good.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the digitalization of the magazines. Because if you go buy like Recoil or Guns and Ammo, like I have a subscription to Guns and Ammo and all that, but I get the digital copy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get a paper copy, and I just keep it on my tablet because I travel a lot, so I can just.
So for the most part, it's funny. I grew up like riding Long Island Railroad into New York City, and you have the people with the New York Times, and there was a special way to fold it so you didn't have it out, that big.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, for the most part, no. Everybody, they have their phone, and they're doing this.
Yep, the world changes.
Oh yeah, in ways you never expect.
Used to be able to make machine guns and sell them to individuals, and
what remember Sears catalog?
That.
With the Hoff, everything comes back to machine guns.
Yes.
Well, it should. Funny. That might be his business.
He's going in.
I feel like I should do, one of those slime ball car ads, except for machine guns right now. Come on down to Hoff's Machine Guns and get a machine gun.
Yeah, he went to chemo, and they gave him the pump, and he's looking at the pump, and they're like, "Do you want to explain that to you?" And he's like, "No, I'm just trying to figure out how to make it shoot."
Yeah,
600 rounds per minute.
No more pump for me.
Yeah, you rung the bell.
Yep, got to ring my bell, and I just wish that video had done better. It just kind of pooped. I was hoping.
I shared that video out everywhere. I think
everybody shared it, and I think it's got it's not doing bad for me. It's got 1,000 views, but I was hoping hey, let's go for 5 million views. I want everybody to see that thing.
I don't know. Have you seen the video, Tim?
Yeah, he shared it.
I shared it. I
wow.
saw something interesting in the news that they now have a blood test that the Mayo Clinic developed that can detect 50 different types of cancer, early stage, and pinpoint it within your body. It costs like $1,000 to have the test done, but you can do it, every year. And unfortunately, insurance doesn't cover it, but I'm sure that'll change.
Yeah,
but
they'll get that where it'll.
Yeah, right now
early
it's
detection is key.
Yeah, right now it's still experimental.
Yeah.
And one of the things that it does detect is pancreatic cancer, which is like the hardest thing to detect. My dad's suffering from pancreatic cancer right now, and it doesn't really show up until like it's in the final stages.
Yeah.
But that test actually will show it up early, so that test is going to save a lot of lives.
Oh yeah, and it'd be smart for the insurance companies. God, this whole fiasco this year has been close to $750,000. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's awful smart for the insurance companies to say, "Yeah, let's pay $1,000 a year for this person instead of, $750,000."
For sure.
Yep.
But I thought Obama fixed that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if they can catch it early enough, they can probably go in with some targeted treatment, and they don't even have to make an incision. They can just, fire beam or radiation, or kill that section, and you're done before it even metastasizes.
Yeah.
Hopefully they figure out a cure. I mean, it's touched everybody watching this video, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. My niece, she had brain cancer and she passed away last February.
And that's supposed to be rare. I just got an email that some folks that I'm friends with up north, a police officer, Marine, father, just was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. I lost a close friend here to brain cancer, and I keep thinking this is supposed to be rare, yet I hear about it all the time.
And I've talked to the nurses in the infusion room while I was getting my chemo, and now I get the maintenance doses. And they said, no, cancer is way up. The last couple of years, it's gone way up. The number of cases. And they said, we don't know why, but yeah, cancer is skyrocketing.
Like a lot of they've done studies on food because all the preservatives, and that didn't turn up anything. They've done like environmental studies, and that didn't turn up anything. They just don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
82Q KFTW for the win says his stepmom died of brain cancer. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Very sorry.
Yeah, and Rich and his wife, they both lost their moms to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Thanks for bringing us down, Hoff.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Who invited you on?
Anytime.
Yeah, let's talk about guns.
Just let me know when I can help.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any guns that you don't have that you want?
Who?
You, Mac.
Oh, dude, the list is, I mean, I wish people say, why don't you get into black powder? It's like, because I can't afford the guns that I want that just go back to World War I. So, just World War II, if you're, there are different types of collectors, right? My entire life, I've just wanted good example of each type of firearm, right? I don't need 50 Lugers. I'm happy with a Luger, but then you have other people that fixate their entire life. I want every 1911, every proof mark, every combination, and that's all they do for their entire life is buy 1911s or M1 Garands or whatever. So I've tried to diversify because I'm interested in how they all work. It's just interesting to me how different people have come up with different solutions for the same problem, right?
Yeah.
How to make a gun load itself, how to propel a bullet down a barrel more effectively, how to make it shoot faster, how to load faster. And so I'm just touching on World War I. I'm still not even done with World War II, but the prices of some of these collectibles have gotten so high. Like I'd love to have a Rorschach, but there's no way I could afford one. I'd have to sell my house. So
the prices have gone crazy.
Yeah. So, it's just, I'm kind of where I'm at this point. And honestly, I'm kind of sticking with new stuff. So it's just every once in a while, if I can find a deal on I when we travel, we go to pawn shops and stuff like that. And believe it or not, you can still find gun shops out there that aren't on the internet, that don't know what the current market value is for stuff. And they sell stuff for like 1990s prices. I went into a little gun shop last year. No, I guess it was earlier this year.
Really?
And there was a Polytech Legend underfolder on the wall for $799.
Wow.
And I grabbed it, took it to the counter, and they said, "Oh, I'll knock $10 off." I'm like, "No, don't charge me full price." I'm like, "This is a great deal anyway." I said, "Are you making money on this?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm making great money on it." I'm like, "Okay." So apparently somebody sold it to him for $300, and he sold it for $700. And he's happy, and I got a Polytech Legend underfolder. So. Yeah, so I mean, you can still find that stuff out there.
Oh, so pre-pandemic, the pawn shop by me in West Palm Beach, I went, I'm just kind of browsing. They had a couple Mosin Nagants and stuff like that, and I'm like, and they wanted a freaking phone number for this stuff. What I would consider it. So 3 years ago, I was thinking anything above 250 for Mosin Nagant is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And, they were wanting like 300, 375. I'm like, you guys are out of your minds. And, I did an FFL transfer with them, and I'm like, oh, hey, I need a case. Do you have a case? And they had a Flambeau case for more than what you would buy it in the store new. And I said, you got that listed for like $45. It's a $25 case on Amazon. They're like, yeah, well, we just list for that. We'll take 25. I'm like, all right, done.
Yeah, here's the thing. When I owned a gun shop, I used to buy most of the guns by the crate because my friend used to make them into coffee tables that light up with the glass and everything. And so I would buy.
And you threw away the guns?
No, I would sell them for like $75 just because I just wanted the crates. Like the guns were like, I just wanted to get rid of the guns. Like I didn't want to keep. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, if I would have kept all those guns.
Oh, there's so many guns like that. I mean, it's a good investment, even at $300 for a Mosin Nagant, because they're not going to get any cheaper. I mean, we've gone through the reserves. Yeah. It's like SKSs. I have a lot of SKSs, and Jason, my cameraman, gives me a hard time because we're traveling. I'll walk by and I'll see a Chinese SKS. I'll pick it up, make sure the numbers match, everything's correct on it, and it's like $299. I take it. Why? Because it's a $550, $700 gun now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so I'll buy them and give them a good home because at that price, they're great little shooters. So, but you don't find very many of those anymore either. So I, back when you're talking about doing $75 for a Mosin. When I was a kid going to gun shows in the Holiday Inn Expo Center in Kansas, we could buy SKSs for $75.
Oh my gosh.
So they were just dirt cheap back then.
Do you have a Mosin that's more accurate than like a Minute of Man? Because none of my Mosins are worth anything.
It's a crapshoot with the Mosins. Like I've seen barrels cut down. Eric, Iraq veteran, he's always modifying them, and he showed me a barrel that literally the bore was way off center. Like there was only, just the tiniest amount of material on one side. The bore was like drilled way off. So, I mean, it's a real crapshoot with war production Mosins. And so you either get a good shooter or you get a, bad shooter. If you can get an authentic PU sniper and not a faked one, but an authentic one, they checked those barrels and made sure they were going to be, as accurate as a Mosin could be. But in general, no. I mean, they're Minute a Man by far. That's, but they're fun to shoot. They're big thumpers. I like the M44.
Well, they had to make so many of them so fast.
Oh, yeah. They're cranking them out.
But we were cranking out Garans and carbines, and those things are still well made,
Yeah.
Big shout out to Jordan Vinro. He's the owner of JSD Supply, who sponsors this podcast.
Outstanding.
I don't know. JSD Supplies, they sell like more P80s than any other company in the country. They also make a 80% P320 kit, and they make slides and barrels and everything else. Patmo slides.
I'm waiting for somebody to make an 80% STG 44.
Sure.
I mean, what's the problem?
ATF is trying to put the kibosh on that. That's we're gonna have to see what this ruling does. It's going to be horrible. I mean, what do they got? I don't even want to think about it.
I'm sure they will. And after you do buy like a regular gun, you have to pay for like 30 transfers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Well, that's gonna be a disaster.
So
Well,
I
that's what they want it
3D
to be.
printed. Sorry, I 3D printed a Glock Bullpup, a G34 Bullpup. Oh, I got something I can show that's not a firearm. So Jordan sent me parts for it to complete it, but they're going to make it. I guess Rob Pincus is talking about doing something so you have DRM on your 3D printer, so you can't print stuff.
That's unbelievable.
That would be bad.
No, it's,
That
it's
would be
no different than what they
extremely
did with.
bad.
It's no different than what they did with the drones. When you first get the early drones, you could fly
Yep.
them anywhere, and now
yeah.
they're all updated.
You got to
to
get
where
a
there's no fly
license
zone.
and
Yep.
Yeah, well, you
But
got to
beyond that, there's no fly zones in
Yeah,
altimeter.
the CIA safe house. That's
Yep.
what set me off that there was something there. I fly drones, and
And
I
it's
was flying
geofenced.
I was flying my little Mavic too, and it was like this is. I was like, why can't I go over there? And I looked it up. It's geofenced around it, and that's not something that like you or I could do, or even like Jeff Bezos can do.
Yeah. Yep.
So I started doing research, and if I started doing my investigative stuff, started going through like shell company after shell company, and then one day I went back to continue my research, and it doesn't exist anymore. They removed it from the property records.
Yeah. What you ought to do is run up there and throw a rock at the fence. I guarantee you they have motion sensors.
Let Hoffman do it.
start throwing rocks. So I'll do it. Oh, hell, I'll throw rocks at the house. Hey, you in there?
But you really can't see the house from the road or anything because they have a heavily wooded wood line. And then from up, when I fly my drone, I can see down. And around the house, there's like 100-yard perimeter around the house, and they do have a shooting range in the back.
Well, that's good.
Man, I'd be
I didn't
over
think the
there all
CIA
the time. I'm just using your range.
And all this time, I thought the CIA, their charter didn't allow them to operate within the United States. Silly me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it could be NSA. It could be anybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Hunter Biden. It's probably Hunter Biden.
Yeah. His crack hose.
Yeah.
It's not a small house either, though. It's a mansion.
Well, only the best. I mean,
You know.
taxpayer dollars. I mean, it's just money. We'll print more.
Yep.
Yep, no problem with that.
Yeah. That is. I mean,
Because we can print our way out of debt.
We're going for money through money so fast that we can't even print it that fast. So now they're making like $1 trillion coins.
We're talking about it.
Talking about making $1 trillion.
Did you
coins.
work in the financial industry?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I worked in the advertising industry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was what I did before YouTube.
What do you think about NBC calling the Secret Service on gun companies that had magazines that said "Let Go, Brandon" and
So
like
PSA.
low receivers?
Yeah.
They did PSA. They did 3 different companies they called on.
It's just unbelievable.
It's so funny.
Rich, they're gonna call the Secret Service on you now.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, I even sell "Let's Go Brandon" shirts. I just came up with a new one. Never Go Full Brandon. I have to show you guys.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw that today. That's really good.
Yeah.
I downloaded it and threw it on my site. No, just joking.
There you go. Have at it.
No, yeah, we saw on my my little store here. We have 2 different versions of the "Let's Go Brandon." I'll show you one right here. I'll just bring up the screen. We have this one, the "Let's Go Brandon" team.
I like that.
And we have this one right here, the "Let's Go Brandon" Wreath, and then we have the "Let's Go Brandon" mug.
They're sure gonna start calling it the Brandon administration. I feel sorry for the NASCAR driver who will be forgotten from history.
Yeah.
Man, I feel sorry for the commentator that just was trying to cover up the profanity in the background. But I think they're saying, "Let's go, Brandon." I mean,
Yeah.
her name will be lost to history as well, and all we'll remember is "Let's go, Brandon."
Yeah, he won't though. Biden won't remember.
No.
The fact
Well,
is
he
that
already
I
forgot.
don't remember.
There was somebody posted a meme or something somewhere yesterday or something that said his wife is all pissed off because he's starting to think his name is Brandon.
I saw that.
Have you seen the meme where it has? Have you
Go
seen
ahead.
the meme where Biden and Obama are sitting there, and Biden says, "Look, everybody wants to sleep with me," and Obama says, "It's not what it means."
Yeah.
I'm using the clean version.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's
not
another one of that is, he says, "Oh, this prostitute keeps following me around." It's like, she's your vice president, Joe.
Yeah, Armor and Axis, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, hashtag let's go, Brandon.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just waiting for them to say that is a sign that you're a domestic terrorist.
Oh, it's coming if it's
They
not
will.
already
Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that happen.
Are you kidding me? YouTube is going voice to text and then scanning the text for "Let's go, Brandon" and sending it to the FBI and CIA.
What?
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, maybe they would.
Yeah.
I've been on all those lists since there was, before there was cell phones. I was
Yeah, but
on
we're
that
not
list
you.
when I was a kid.
But the ATF isn't scared of us; they're scared of you.
No, he's
Yeah.
talking about the Vice.
Yeah.
The local Vice squads.
The Vice Squad.
Yeah, it's really hilarious, but I don't know. I sometimes I worry about the future of the country because of
Sometimes.
stupid. Well, a lot of times.
I mean, it's beyond swirling the drain at this point. I mean, we're flat out going down it. I can't believe what 1 year has produced. I mean,
I know.
good grief! You have
Not even a year.
teachers writing letters to Merrick Garland, and because of that letter, they send out, the FBI, NSA, they, unmarked cars following parents around and helicopters circling parent-teacher meetings. It's like, what in the world is this? This isn't America. And this
I
all
live in
happened
Loudoun.
in the last year.
I live in Loudoun County, where all that's happening.
Oh, wow.
That's where the ground zero of all that. That's where they sent the FBI in, and they were talking about domestic terrorists.
In West Palm Beach here, my wife goes to all of those meetings, and she says there's more cops than people attending the meetings. I'm like, where do they get all the cops from?
Oh, what? That they're probably all going to quit because of the COVID.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that Terry McAuliffe did that he really screwed up in Virginia is he was talking about how in Northern Virginia they lost a really good school board member, and that was Beth Drafts, who covered up for a rapist because he was transgender, and also had a secret Facebook group where they were trying to dox parents.
Wow.
Jesus.
I don't think she's too much of a good person. Yeah.
She's a good Democrat.
Yeah. But I'm glad that we had a good turnout. All right. Well, I think we might be done here. Are you going to go to the Gundies this year?
I don't know. Where's it being held?
Drive tanks in Texas?
Really?
You don't want to go drive tanks, shoot tank guns?
Well, that's where it was last year. Yeah, right in the middle of a whole big mess. I don't know. I haven't even gotten the invite, so we'll see.
Yeah. I think you might be nominated for something.
Maybe. I never really take part in the process, but the two Gundies I got awards, but I'd love to go down there. It's just I'm done flying. I'm not going to play by the rules, and
wow.
I have to drive everywhere, and that's a really, really long drive.
Come on, you're in the middle of the country.
there's nothing middle about where I'm at when you're talking about Texas. That is a 20-hour plus drive. That's 2 solid days of driving.
Yeah, Texas is really, really big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm nominated for what is it? Voice of the 2A. I don't know. 2A voice, something like that.
Are they holding it? Are they holding it during SHOT Show again?
No, it's gonna be at the end of February.
Well, it's in Texas, so that's what am I saying? Because never mind. Because the first one was at SHOT Show. That's I did make that one, but yeah, I'm definitely not going to SHOT this year. Kind of done with them too.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the NSSF. Last time I went, they had billboards up where we report our own, like had a gun owner in handcuffs, and it just angers me. They're just, them and the NRA are just too close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
Isn't
not
that the truth?
I was not gonna go to SHOT, but then I got scheduled to work the GOA table.
He's
Well,
the
I mean,
booth
if you got a
bunny.
good reason to go, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I do that, but yeah, I heard that Sig backed out, and then Glock was thinking about it, but
Of the upcoming SHOT Show?
Yeah, those are
starting to lose
pretty
big
big
names.
anchors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I've
what I thought
heard.
was interesting was Sig dropped out, and then Vista took their spot immediately. Now I know there's people that are in the basement that have been waiting for a slot for years.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Because you would think somebody who's been on the list for years to get a better spot would have a crack at it. They could have subdivided it and gotten more companies up there instead of letting a massive organization come in and just take the spot. It's just another reason why I don't like an SSF.
It's all about the money.
Well, they don't give the little guys, the up and comers, the people that are innovating any space. They stick them off down in the basement. You know, they won't let them have any main floor space, even if they want to pay for it. And it just kind of aggravates me. Last year I spent more time downstairs than I did upstairs. So
Yeah, Jordan Vinro says he heard Colt pulled out. I've heard that as well. I don't know if that was public yet.
It is now.
Well, it is now. Yeah. Hey, UW Gears in here. What's up, brother? Good friend of mine.
Yeah.
You don't have any friends.
Just ATF agents that wait in the line. We have a really cool ATF examiner, and he's like a really, really good dude, and he watches the channel and stuff like that. But have had some pretty funny conversations.
Yeah, but you
Needless to say, I'm well known throughout the organization. It's not a good feeling.
Yeah,
I'm not going to stop.
John, you got to tell your story.
Oh, all right. So I was at a local gun show, and I went to talk to the ATF. So I was talking to them, and so they asked me what my name is, and I told them my full name, and then they said they weren't allowed to talk to me. I had to contact the media department, and then they left. So
oh my goodness!
So I got a picture of me with a P80 standing in the ATF booth.
Oh my goodness! That's bad. I'd say that's worse than anything I've ever had any dealings with the ATF, which isn't very many at all. But one of the funniest things I've ever seen was when Karnakan was still doing his stuff, and he taped the braces to his shoulder and went up to the ATF booth because they just that was the year. What year was that? Was it 8? Wasn't it? It was like 15. Was it 2015 when they came out and said the braces you cannot be shouldered anymore?
Something like
that. It was right before SHOT Show. So literally they threw a wet blanket on braces like the week of SHOT Show. And they released that letter saying if you shoulder them, it's an SBR. The minute you touch it to your shoulder, then it becomes a pistol when you don't touch it. And so Karnakan taped 2 braces to his shoulder and went up to the ATF booth. I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's just content.
All right, John, I know what we need to do.
What's that?
I'll get a booth at SHOT Show if I can work it out and get the booth next to ATF again, and then I'll have you come and help me.
There you go. And what you guys could do is like tattoo a lightning link on your arm, perfect dimensionally. See if they cut it off.
Put down the machine gun.
You can't have a stencil. You can't
That's it.
have a
You have like the
correct
little
stencil.
tattoos from like when you're a kid and you just hand them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Talking about Carnicon, DLD After Dark. DLD originally stood for Dark Light Dugan. Ashley Dugan, who Carnicon. I started the channel with Dark, and I got named Light. But it's still going on. So Dark has a shirt that he sells with the lightning link on it,
Oh, that's epic.
and it says
That's epic.
like semi-automatic shirt or something like that.
It's a semi-auto key card.
Semi-auto key card. That's what
I'm gonna do a shirt that says full semi-auto key card.
yeah. All right. Well, we got to get out of here. We're running.
Oh,
late.
and Dark's 100th episodes tonight, 9:30.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be
I'll
on
be
a little
there.
bit later. Yeah. All right. So
I
let's
gotta go take a nap.
yeah, let's go say bye to everyone. We'll start out with you, Tim. And Tim, you
Yes.
have to plug a YouTube channel other than your own, as well as you can plug your own. But what we do, we make everyone plug a YouTube channel. It doesn't have to be gun related. It can be any type of one.
Well, I only watch
Plug
gun
mine
related.
and I'll plug yours.
Well, we can't do that. We're already getting plugged because we're on the live stream. There's a guy out there that he goes by Big Shooterist, and he has some of the most amazing content. He's written for Small Arms Review and one of the most knowledgeable people I know in the industry. So check out Big Shooterist on YouTube. He's a really, really good dude and underrated.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are underrated. That's why we started this like little shout out thing to, to give some people some light. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. Everyone knows where they can find you at Military Arms Channel. One of the biggest gun channels on YouTube. All right. Let's go to the Hoff.
Hi. Let me see. The channel I want to shout out is Duelist 1954. 19?
Yes.
Yeah. He's got a great channel, all black powder stuff, or mostly black powder stuff. He's funny. He's like
Good
me,
dude.
but older and black powder.
I like his content too.
And
Yeah.
BWE Firearms
Yep.
on all social media. All right, Rich, and I gave you the last one before me because tonight's your last show.
Wow, am I getting fired? Is this I'm
Oh,
finding
wow.
it on air? What the heck?
No, for a while.
I'm going into early retirement. So flyingrich.com, youtube.com/flyingrich, utreon.com/c/flyingrich, and patreon.com/flyingrich. And I'm going to pimp Night Strike, who's in the chat.
Nice. I think we already did them, but that's fine.
You can do them as much as you want.
Okay. You can follow me here, John Crump News, whatever. But definitely check out Will and Ben on YouTube. Will and Ben, they have about a couple thousand subscribers, and their content is really high value. They do like long vlogs and stuff like that. It's a really cool channel. So yeah, it's like production quality.
Oh, wow.
They only have a couple thousand. They do like advertising in the gun world, basically. Not like influencers. They actually represent like different companies. So if you ever wanted to see what the behind the scenes of that is going, what that's like, you can watch it over there. All right. Hey, Rich, since this is your last show, I got something to tell you.
Is that where you drop me out?
Of course. At least you knew it was coming this time.
It took you long enough to figure it out.
Most of the time, he's like, "What?"
Maybe because I'm a trusting individual, but you're trading me against that.
All right, guys. See you later, and remember,